Hello. Hi, I'm vichisuki. This is Hollow Knight. Any percent? You want to introduce yourself?
My name is Ukulele. I am a Celeste runner. I know a little bit of Hollow Knight, and I'm mainly just here to yap for Vi.
But yeah, this it's about 50 minutes, give or take, so we'll just get started right away. Time will start when I click new game here, so if we're good to go. Yeah, cool. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go! Good luck, have fun.
Okay, so a couple things to mention immediately. We are not playing on the latest patch of this game. We're playing on 1.2.2.1, which is a slightly older patch that allows us to do things like this. Opening your inventory mid-air allows you to uncap your fall speed and fall incredibly fast, so it's very, very helpful for certain areas that are particularly vertical. Additionally, we're playing in Chinese. It is the fastest text scrolling language, I think. Directly followed by Japanese because of the characters and whatnot. Quick little skip there. Oh, that's a bad position.
This is King's Pass. This is the very first part of the game. Pretty much, this is just showing you how to swing your nail with some very rudimentary enemies. Some very difficult platforming for anyone who is just starting out, but Vi has too many hours in this game, so she is very comfortable with the movement here.
Just a few.
Just a few, yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be going pretty normally how like a casual player would experience the game, and then after we get the Mantis Claw ability, the wall jump, we're going to go off on our own. We're going to go on a little adventure. But the goal of this game, in order to beat the game, we are just doing any percent, which basically means get any ending, complete the game with any amount of percent of the game completed. So we are going to be getting exactly what we need and then running to the final boss as fast as we can, which includes getting 3 Dreamers and then fighting the Hollow Knight. So first of all, we need to get through the start area. There is actually a new route that was kind of like discovered and or pioneered. Oh, okay. Quite recently, where in order to progress through the first area, you need the fireball, but we can actually skip the fireball with a very, very precise setup. I'm not going to do it because it's extremely unsafe for a marathon. 2, 3,
I haven't even
4,
seen
5,
it, but I've
6,
I've
7.
heard too much about it and just how punishing it can be. What you just saw there is a trick called double spike, I believe.
Yes.
You have those 2 Aspid enemies move in just away by manipulating their movement with your own. And then you can hit the falling stalagmites in certain directions with your nail that can pretty much one-shot any weak enemy. We use it there to save a lot of time trying to kill those enemies because they can be quite annoying to take out, especially how
because they try and get away from you. Do a little quick skip there. Saves about like half a second.
Statue Pogo, my beloved.
What is the difference between a stalagmite and a stalactite? Which one goes up? Which one goes down?
Stalagmite comes up. Did I say stalagmite? I think it's
I don't remember.
Stalactite is the one that holds tight onto the ceiling. So I think I got that wrong, actually.
Okay. We're learning.
Yeah, we're learning.
So this is False Knight, first boss of the game. We're not really going to be seeing him for very long. He's going to be on the screen for about 30 seconds. And we're not going to kill him. We're just going to let him live. We don't need the city crest, which is what he normally drops. So thankfully the devs provided a little skip that we can do to not even complete the fight.
I didn't even know about this until I saw a speedrun for the first time. There is, once he's done with his first cycle of attacks, swinging his mallet around, this wall here will break, and it will allow you to attack it with your nail and escape the fight early. So this is the only way at this point to get to the what is it? Ancestral
Mound.
I was so right. There are 3 of these things, and I always get them mixed up. It's the only way to get here, and without the very difficult skip that Vi mentioned before, this is the only way that we can progress the game, because after this we're going to get dash, which will speed movement up a lot, and this is the only way that we can get there.
Yeah, so we need the fireball in order to kill a boulder enemy, which is in the way. There is a way to kill it without getting the fireball, which is called Itemless Boulder. Requires both a shade skip, which you'll see later on, and an incredibly precise setup that involves limiting your frame rate where possible. So we're not going to do it because not only is it really hard, but it's also incredibly marathon unsafe because obviously the nail doesn't do a lot of damage. You go and get a charm that increases your nail damage when you are on exactly 1 HP, so you do basically the entire run on 1 HP. So we're not doing that. This is the more classic any % route. It follows more or less what you would see in a casual playthrough.
Those balls are rolling very, very short.
Yeah, we cap our FPS to 250. 250 is optimal because, for some reason, this game, the higher... Oh, okay.
Good job.
Oh.
Oh!
Oh, God. Okay, well, that's fine. This is a 50-50 chance to spit a fireball or a boulder.
I love gambling.
There we go. I'm going to bench.
That is really annoying because sometimes with every spit, like I said, it's 50-50 whether or not you get a boulder or just acid. So you can just get stuck there, and if you waste one of your fireballs, then you just have to wait for it to spit one. And if you get even more unlucky than Vi just got right there, it can be really irritating.
Yeah, so the longer it goes on, the more 50-50 chances you're failing. I believe the world record is something like 26. And that was broken quite recently by a new player to the game, which would have been a rude awakening. We're going to do a quick kill here. What you can do is if you go over here to aggro the boulder and jump over here, this only works on patch 1221, but you basically park the fireball right off screen and kill the boulder in 1 hit. We're going to do our first fireball skip here, hopefully. Yeah.
Good job.
That is a very minor skip. That saves 7 seconds or so. Basically what we do is we use the fireball to reset our fall speed so that we can go a further distance, as well as the fact that the fireball, when facing the opposite direction, pushes us back a little bit. So we're going to do that 3 times total. Next one is coming up in the room after the next one. This one saves a lot more time. It's kind of mandatory to get done. If you miss the fireball skip, you can still do a backup like enemy progress skip.
What's the enemy's name? Is
Eric.
Eric.
Hopefully we won't see Eric. We're going to let Eric live.
Yeah, Eric is just down here. This is the fireball skip. We're going to say hi to Silk Song.
There we
go. Yo, nice.
So that's the second one. That saves a significant more amount of time because otherwise you'd have to go basically all the way around. So now we're not meant to be up here until after you've got dash, but we're kind of doing this area backwards. Final fireball skip here.
This one is much less mandatory.
There we go.
Nice. That's very difficult to do.
So that's 3 out of 3 fireball skips. Happy with that.
All 3 of those fireball skips are basically one of the first things that you learn starting out speedrunning this game. They're one of the first pieces of speed tech that you learn. And they can be very difficult for new runners, and even runners who are much more experienced tend to fail them.
Do a quick kill here. There we go.
Nice.
So what you can do there is if you jump in front of the Moss Knight, it will think that you're going to jump over it, so it backs up, and we can exploit that so that the fireball hits it both the first time and when it bounces back. And the reason why that works is because each enemy has what's called like an invulnerability period after you hit it, and by exploiting that, you can wait for the invulnerability period to end if you shoot a fireball at the same speed that they are moving at. So you can hit multiple enemies. You can hit an enemy like twice, sometimes 3 times, depending on the situation.
Don't die to Moss Knights, please.
We'll be fine. So we're just gathering a lot of Geo here. Geo is the game's currency. We need it for a couple of different things, mostly buying fast travel points and also a major item later on that allows us to get into Crystal Peaks. Coming up with the first boss here, she's got her own game coming out sometime soon.
What's this called? Well, I don't know the name of it.
I think it's called like Shoelace or something.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But yeah, here's Hornet. She's pretty easy.
One of the most fun fights in the game for me. I love this fight.
We're just kind of going to hit her a bunch.
Speed strat is so fluid.
Okay, nice double there.
One thing that we'll actually be exploiting throughout the entire run, because the fireball here is...
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and she hit the gate as well. she can
save.
bonk her head on the gate because she normally like bounces up after you kill her, but if she hits her head on the gate, she lands faster, which actually saves like half a second.
One thing that you saw Vi doing in that fight, the fireball that we have is our highest source of damage in an any % run, and we abuse that quite a lot to get double hits. So for most enemies, they'll get knocked backwards whenever they are hit by a fireball. And after a fireball hits an enemy, it has a small lockup period where it can't hit anything again. But if you time out that lockup period just so much so where the enemy gets knocked back and is overlapping the fireball after that time is over, then you can actually hit them again with the same fireball. So you're doubling your damage output. Which is also much easier because we get a charm later that will increase the size and damage of our fireball.
So now we're going into the fungal wastes. Now that we have dash, our movement is going to be a lot faster. So we're going down here to get our wall jump ability. We're doing quite a few inventory drops because this area is very vertical. And it helps a lot to uncap the fall speed. It is a little bit difficult when you're learning it. You do have to remember that it's like timing based because when the inventory's up, you can't really see much. So we do it at very specific times. You don't really like do it just because it's not always faster. And you'll see that at certain points we opt not to open the inventory because you can't move while the inventory is open. So sometimes you want to move, sometimes you don't. Here we're coming up to a pretty big skip, which might be a little difficult, but we'll see.
This one is pretty, not mandatory, but you lose a lot of time by not going for it. It can be quite difficult.
We'll go for the easier setup.
It's very easy to back up here, so we're just going to go for it again, and
Cool.
she gets it.
So that skip, that version of the skip is actually exclusive to patches earlier than 1.3, and that's because you can't pogo the explosion after a certain patch. We're going to do a quick double dash here.
Nice.
And then finally we're going to finish off this split with hopefully Mantis Claw early control, which will allow us to quit out early. Okay, come here.
No, please.
There we go.
Nice.
So doing that allows us to quit out early. Normally you'd have to wait for that text to go away. That actually saves about like 10 seconds or so. So it's a pretty major time save, and you want to go for it as much as you can. There's like 3 different setups for it. And again, that's also only possible on 1.2.2.1. So there's like lots of little bits that save time on this patch as opposed to the current patch. There are people that run on current patch. I just prefer to run on this patch because I'm more comfy with it. I think it's a much more fun run. But there are plenty of people who do run on the current patch, and
Current patch is also much more accessible because
much more accessible,
it's
yeah.
a lot easier on PC specs, and also is just you don't have to down patch, so it doesn't have that prerequisite.
So if you're familiar with Hollow Knight speedrunning, we are coming up on one of the kind of like signature tricks of Hollow Knight speedrunning. We're kind of going in a weird direction because at this point the game really opens up casually. You get the Mantis Claw and you have dash and you go, okay, well I can go basically anywhere. So we are going to go into Blue Lake, and you might be wondering how we're going to get into Blue Lake, and we'll see. It's kind of fun. Oops.
Oh,
This is Jennifer.
hi Jennifer. Bye Jennifer. I don't think we ever see Jennifer again after
No,
this.
we do not. Metroidvania speedrunners like to name enemies all the time.
What's this one's name?
This one's just Gruzmother. It's a boss, so like it doesn't get a name. Oh, this is a bad pattern. Okay,
Nice.
that's actually good.
So, what are you trying to do?
Walking storage.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Whee! I am not qualified to explain walking storage. Right here, not quite a perfect cleanup.
4. So that is walkling storage. By dashing into a wall as it disappears, such as a gate, you maintain the state where you are clinging to the wall, and it maintains your dash speed. So we use that in a couple different areas that you'll see throughout the run. Also, 1.2.2.1 and previous exclusive, so very cool. Getting the Shaman Stone here, this is the charm that increases our damage, and for spells specifically, it's going to be the only charm that we pick up for the rest of the run. Because without it, this game would take forever. And it looks like I'm low on health here.
Oh, you died! How could you do that?
Dude, that sucks.
I can't believe that you'd do that.
So we're going to put on the Shaman Stone here. This is our shade. So this is what happens when you die. You get this little shade friend over here.
I like to call him the ice cream man.
And we're going to use the pogo up to this spot that we're not meant to be.
Nice. So right here, this is Blue Lake walking storage. So like I explained walking storage before, it maintains your dash speed. So when we enter the room, we do a very precise setup to guaranteed gain walking storage pretty much every time.
Nice
Walking
chain.
storage is lost the second you touch the ground for more than 1 frame. But
I got 1 chain, so I got 1 frame perfect jump, but it's
Yeah.
very difficult, so...
and you can't buffer for it, so
no,
it's
you can't
very
buffer.
difficult.
You can't buffer because if you jump, you just jump off the fake wall that doesn't exist, so you have to press it frame perfectly.
But also the water in Blue Lake is not a flaw, so if you are in the water, it maintains your walkling storage without taking it
Yeah,
away.
water's weird because like it just gives you back walkling storage for some reason. We're not really sure exactly why, but yeah, it's probably because it's not considered a floor and it's not considered a wall, so it just kind of gives it back to you, which is really odd. Here we're getting the Dream Nail. This is another required item that we need to beat the game. It is basically like a special nail that allows us to access the dreams of bugs and whatnot.
That wasn't an accidental death. That
No,
was.
that is actually faster. It saves like 15 seconds.
Are you gonna go for?
Oh, yeah.
For the thing. I forget the name of the strat.
Oh, okay.
Aww.
So that's a trick called Dream Dash. What you do is you time your dash very precisely, and what you can do is you can dash into the floor as it appears. I'll
Don't
go
do
for it one more
again.
time.
Aww.
Okay.
No.
It loses like 8 seconds or so if you try it repeatedly, so
Don't
I
ridiculous.
usually do it like once or twice, and then I'll stop. It saves like such a small amount of time, but it looks really cool, so not today.
Okay, I'll give you that much. It does look really, really cool.
Yeah, so now we're just going to do some... Okay. Maybe
Fine.
we're not doing platforms today.
This is this section of movement is very reminiscent to the game that I run, Celeste, where it's just a lot of memorized movement with very particular footholds. You have to know exactly where you're placing your dashes. Everything in this section is very deliberate. It's very small and like can be quite easy to optimize. It's not too significant, but it just stands out to me.
We're going to do a little skip here called Seer Skip. What you can do is while you're in this white screen, if you mash escape, you regain control of the knight before you're meant to, and you can just dash out of the room.
And grind the knight's face into the floor. You also have uncapped full speed.
Yeah, so the knight is like trying to wake up, and we're falling through space, and it uncaps full speed, and it removes the hard fall animation, which is exactly the same as an inventory drop. I'm going to go for some cool walkling storage here in the next room. Hopefully I get
This
it.
is really cool. Oh,
Yes.
nice. That one's really difficult, actually.
Okay, so you can chain it basically to the end of the room. I messed it up because I bonked my head into a wall there, but that saves an ungodly amount of time. It's like 15 seconds for some reason.
It's one of the also cleanest pieces of movement in the entire game, just with how you can preserve it throughout the entire room, because that room is actually quite vertical from the place that you enter the transition through.
So here we're going to get a little bit of cheer. We're going to... oops.
Bye.
We're going to... Oh, I'm out of soul. That's fine.
there
So we're going to grab a bit of cheer here. We need it again to purchase some things later on. The knight wants to go shopping. And
We want to get our devilish little...
the knight needs a little
knight
tasty
bits.
treat. Oh,
Little tasty... What are you doing?
falling. So now we're going to go visit the Gorgeous Husk. This is the City of Tears, so it is kind of like where all the rich bugs live. So
Yes,
we're gonna
greed
go and
sickens
rob them. Okay, so we're gonna do a quick damage cycle here to get double hits.
Yeah, putting on full
There
display the double hits that we explained before.
Yeah,
You'll see that a
G-Husk-
lot in other boss fights as well. It's absolutely insane just how much mileage you can get out of hitting a boss twice.
G-Husk is really mean and sometimes just won't double, so I'm really glad it went well there because it can very easily get out of hand. Here's a little skip that is pretty cool. You're meant to have wings in order to get up to this point, but you can just kind of like pogo up there. That's
We
called
hate
Spire
independent
Skip.
progression. This is
And-
one of the weirdest parts of the game.
We're gonna hit a lever through the floor. That's exclusive to 1221, which makes it slightly faster.
Safety bench.
Gonna take a safety bench here just because this is a marathon and I don't want to die, and that would be really bad.
I love watches. I love watches.
But yeah, we're coming up to probably the hardest boss in the any percent route. Oh, we've got light.
Ooh.
Where am I? Yeah, because we hit the lever through the floor, the light never comes on, so I gotta kind of do some...
Well, I mean, the light did come on, actually.
Oh,
so, like-
true, yeah. Thank you, ACMI.
They're turning on the lights so that we can actually see in dark rooms. So, like...
True. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Coming up to watches here, probably the hardest boss in the game for the any percent route because of how little damage that we have. So I'm gonna try and focus and not talk very much. Layla will probably talk a little bit, but it's a pretty tight damage rotation, and then after a while I just have to wing it. So we'll see how this goes.
So, watches, at least when there's only one, are very fun to beat up because you just do nail cancels, which is just using your nail and then immediately canceling the ending animation with a fireball. Basically, it just increases your damage so much. One thing that you'll notice is that we can use the Dream Nail. It's not just a story progression item, it also gets us soul off of enemies when we use it. It gives us one cast of fireball. Which is really useful because when the watches are in their little roly-poly states like this, they are impervious to nail damage, but the fireball can actually damage them very well. So we use that to skip a lot of waiting that we have to do. Nice double kill there.
You want to kill them consecutively because otherwise it takes like this time to wake up, so it loses a bit of time.
So we're on the last couple watches, so if I can keep this clean, I'm jinxing her now. You just got to do it. Oh, really nice save there. Oh, we're very close. Both watches are on quite low HP. One thing that you also want to do is try and hit both of them at the same time with a nail. Oh, that was really clean. I'm sorry I jinxed you there.
Oh, no, you're fine. That was a little messy.
This is why we take the safety bench, because, I mean, even with the bench, this bench is so far away from watches that it's probably one of the farthest benches from a boss in the game. I think second only to Soul Tyrant. So even if you die to them with taking the safety bench, it is just, you're losing so much time.
Luckily we can get our shade back right here, which gives us our full soul meter back, and we can just farm some soul with the Dream Nail here, so it's really not that big of a deal.
One thing that actually does help the any percent route, and also if you're having trouble with watches on a casual playthrough, you saw Vi going up there. She broke a chandelier in this room, which makes it so that you have to fight one less watcher. That is really, really helpful because not only does it save time because we have one less enemy to kill, but it also just means that the fight is shorter. It means that we don't have as many opportunities to take damage, and it means that we have one less to deal with. Though, even in spite of that, you only fight 2 watches at a time, like you're seeing here. But nice double hits on the watch. You can actually get triple hits. It's really interesting. I think watches are really fun, but also they are just an absolute nightmare. Nice. I think that is 1 more left?
2 more left.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that one there was a background guy. Nice.
That's a triple,
That's a triple hit. There you go. Oh, nice. Okay, 1 left. Surely you've got this, right?
Yeah, this is fine.
Nice. Yeah. That is one of the hardest parts of 80%, and a little bit of walking storage just to show it off. Very good job, Vi.
Yeah, that is kind of like a noob killer for the run. Like, you really... Any percent is a lot of, like, you learn 30 minutes of movement, and then you practice watches for 9 hours. So... You really have to get that right, which I didn't, but it's fine.
I mean, hey, second try is still incredible, and the fact that that was a really clean attempt.
What is going on? So we're climbing up this elevator shaft here. It's a little bit faster. You can wall climb faster than the elevator. And that way we can also fall back down using the inventory drop. So it saves a bit of time. So this is Lurian. This is the first of the 3 Dreamers that we kill in the 80% route. You need to kill 3 Dreamers in order to open the door to the final boss. So that's 1 out of 3 down, and basically from here we're going to get 1 more ability, which is the Crystal Dash, and then immediately just book it to the final boss. We do need to do a little bit of money collecting here, so this is kind of like the shopping segment. Knight needs to go and earn some money. He has to go do some part-time jobs.
What would the Knight's part-time job be?
I fear the Knight would not be good at customer service.
Yeah?
Do a little bit of walking storage here.
Oh my god. Need I mention, walking storage is really hard to do. We're doing a little bit of an easier version. Well, Vi is doing a little bit of an easier version. Sorry, I'm taking credit for your work. Where if you are touching a wall when you enter a transition, you are pulled away from the wall. You're no longer touching it, but the game still gives you walking storage. But even still, when you're doing it from a vertical transition, you still have to leave the ground very quickly.
It's a frame perfect jump, yeah.
Yeah.
There are like a couple transitions in the game where you can immediately dash, but 90% of the time if you go for transition walking storage, you have to just
Whee! Hi, Lamb.
you have to jump frame perfectly immediately after entering. This is one of the harder tricks in the run. I am going to pop a heal here because it can get very dicey very quick. This is Rafters skip. There are two different ways to do it. I'm going to do the easier route because the harder way you do it, you bounce on this Vengefly right here, and it is like frame perfect, close to, and like frame rate dependent. That's just a little skip there. And then we want to go up here, and we're just going to grab this little relic here that we can sell for some money.
There you go. And now we go back to Lem because that person that we talked to at the fountain before actually really likes giving us money. So this is actually the night's part-time gig. This is the customer service that the night is doing.
That guy is never walking. That's so rude.
He just wants to get his steps in. What's your problem?
So we're going to sell a bunch of stuff to Lem here. He's going to give us about $1,100. Give us a little bit of pocket money for our hard work collecting a bunch of the stuff that he likes.
And I just want to take this time to shout out Team Cherry, the developers of Hollow Knight, just because the voice acting is really good in this game. And also, you know, they kind of made like a really cool game. I think they might be making another one as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly, there might be demos playable at ACMI sometime soon, but...
Allegedly.
But yeah, they made a masterpiece of a game. I'm gonna kind of destroy it a little bit. So if this game looks interesting to you, like please definitely pick it up. It's a fantastic game, and it's by Australian developers, and it's probably one of my favorite games of all time.
I'm so sorry, you fell in the water there, and I thought, oh wait, you didn't have swim. I had a little bit of a brain fart. With the randomizer, you can actually have, you can randomize your ability to swim in the water. And I was just scared.
So we did a little trick called Fireball there, Firebell. So what you do is, if you're trying to take a stag, you have to hit the bell in order for the stag to arrive, but the animation of him arriving takes a while. So you can actually fireball the bell from really far away, and then exit the room to skip the animation. We run this game with in-game time, so we use a loadless timer, because unfortunately this game has a little bit of load dependency depending on how good your PC is. What we call that
coward.
We call that IGT in-game time, and currently we're timing with RTA, real-time attack, which is just timing from when you start to the end. So that saves time IGT, does not save time RTA.
If you don't talk to Elderbug before you do hit a THK, I'm going to be very mad.
So now we're entering Crystal Peaks. We actually need the lantern here because there's two different ways to get into Crystal Peaks, and that is via the Desolate Dive ability, which takes 9 years to go and get, or getting the lantern so that we can access this gate. And we need the lantern to access the gate because the gate, like the toll to open the gate, does not spawn, or at least it is not interactable if we do not have the lantern. So it is a required item. Here we're going to do a little trick called Pog Axe.
Pog Axe? Pog Axe? Oh, nice! That is a,
famously named after Axe to you, Hollow Knight speedrunner.
Has nothing to do with the fact that you're pogoing a pickaxe.
No.
That is a really hard trick. It is... I don't think it's exclusive to this patch, but it's more or
really
less...
close.
It's more or less, like... impossible to do without a very precise setup.
It is consistent on 1.2.2.1, but it is random on other patches.
Yeah, so, and even then, on this patch, it is quite difficult to do, so that was really good. It just saves quite a nice little bit of time, because otherwise, in that room, you'd have to go all the way around, because that little gap that we pogoed through is, like, very much later in the room and is a backtrack point.
Crystal Peaks is a really great spot to practice your movement. Like, there's a lot of really fun movement stuff that you do here.
Just like this screen right here.
Yeah, so we're going to do a little fireball there. Allows us to double dash. Oh, okay.
Good job. I love how you could see the knight's little spotlight shadow fall in there as the fade out happened.
I actually don't know what the cycle's gonna be, so I'll go for damageless cycle.
Yeah.
What you're meant to do here is you damage tank on that laser there, and that sets up this cycle perfectly so that you can just hold right and jump. Do a little underplat here.
Underplat? Nice. That is really scary, but it's not too hard, but it's really scary and just unnecessary risk for like very little time saved. But we love those here.
Yeah.
We love going
all
for
the
really
memes.
cool looking strats that save absolutely no time at all.
Oh yeah. So you'll notice that we've been saving and quitting a fair bit. That's just because saving and quitting actually puts you at the last bench that you sat on. This game autosaves when you quit, so it just chucks you back where you last sat on the bench. So saves a bit of time.
Yes! 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 The run is good!
So now we're entering the infected crossroads. This is the type of crossroads that appears after you've either gotten one Dreamer or the Wings ability, which we are not going to get. Oh, that's... okay, that's not good. It's fine. Quick little trick here that will take like 10 years to explain, so I'm not going to do it. And now we are going to do our first acid skip. So basically, in order to get down to this area, you're meant to have Isma's tier. Oh, okay.
Come on.
It's not even hard.
This is like the first acid skip, but it's very easy. If you fall down onto that wall, save your applause for a bit because we are about to see the single hardest trick in this run. Well, not right now. I think we're going to fight Monomon before then.
We are.
But basically, acid skips, you are supposed to be able to swim in those after getting an item called Isma's Tear. It lets you swim in acid without taking any damage. Right there is a piece of the wall that if you wall cling on and immediately charge a crystal dash on, then you can get over the acid. There's another one that is basically that exact same thing, but way more precise, that is going to be coming up after the worst boss fight in the game.
So I went for wall cling storage there. It's very precise, and if you don't get it, it doesn't lose too much time, so it's really not that big of a deal. So I usually just go for it, and then if I don't get it, I just continue. This is Umu. This is bad. Don't like this boss.
Bad.
Yeah, okay. That's
So the reason why this boss is so disliked is because it is cycle locked. So what cycles are, for anyone who doesn't know, basically they're just parts of the game that are moving on their own and we can't control them. So we basically have to wait for Umu to do its own thing before we can attack it. It's basically, we don't get a chance to attack. Right now we do, but then Umu just says, no, it's my turn to play the video game. And Umu is also, on top of being cycle locked, it's technically RNG. Well, it is RNG because Umu has two different attacks it can use. One where it chases you with lightning and one where it instantly spawns a bunch of lightning all over the screen. We want the one where it spawns lightning all over the screen because that's faster. And
you can go for a 3 cycle there, 2 cycle. It's very precise, and I messed up. I actually think I backed it up pretty well, but I...
$10 you're one fireball off.
I am, pretty much.
Oh. Fine, I guess I'm paying you $10.
There's a cool setup to do wall cling storage here. As soon as she explodes, you just hold right and then you dash.
So this, there's the acid done.
That's fine.
So this raises a little bit of a question with wall cling storage. It's like, oh, well, we don't really need any of the things that make it necessary for us to get over the acid there. Wall cling storage just skips all of that. So in this category, we have a little bit of nebulous ruling where to be able to use wall cling storage to skip things, we still need to have the things that would make it possible for us to get over there normally.
So
you're better at explaining this than I am.
The wall cling storage topology rule basically says that you can only use wall cling storage if the room is accessible in the current state that it's in. So right now, we have the crystal dash. Even though we don't technically need the crystal dash to get there, because we have it, wall cling storage is then legal. It's the same with the shade skip. Theoretically, we could wall cling storage over the top, but because the shade is there, it becomes legal to do. So that just prevents us from using wall cling storage with really ridiculous, really difficult setups to do skips that might be like that take like 20 minutes to do because they're just so difficult. So it makes the game a little bit more accessible, and it's just a better ruling because otherwise every single area would just be, let's get wall cling storage, and then
Let's go gambling!
yeah. So we explicitly use wall cling storage as more of like a time saver in like movement rather than a you need to do wall cling storage in order to get to this position.
It also just makes it a lot more accessible, because walking storage, like I said, is very difficult to do, at least without very specific and deliberate setups.
Yeah, so we're coming up on one of the hardest tricks in the run. This is called QGA, or Queen's Garden's Acid Skip.
This is the acid skip I was talking about before.
Yeah, so it is a little precise, so I'm going to stop talking.
Oh? Oh my god.
Nice.
Nice! That is the hardest skip in the game. You dash onto a very precise part of that wall just above the acid right before you dunk. And you charge a crystal dash immediately so that you go straight under the thorns, and Vi got it second try. That's really, really impressive.
Yeah, doing it without taking any damage is what you kind of want to be going for, because if you take damage, it loses time, and you can't really heal. So you do a little double there. We're going to do a double-double.
Double-double.
The double-double.
Her greed sickens me.
Take an
what you
intentional
get.
damage
Aw.
there because it actually warps us down due to a bugged respawn anchor. So if you dunk in the spikes, specifically, again, on 12210 earlier, you'll spawn down the bottom, and that saves a little bit of time. I'm going to C-dash through here. Right now, we're going to Distant Village to get the final Dreamer. What is going on?
Unfortunately, it is in the spider area. So Team Cherry sticking true to their Australian roots. An Australian game has to have spiders in it. Unfortunately for me, who is very arachnophobic.
Yeah, so small content warning if you don't like spiders. There will be some creepy crawly sounds, but I'll promise I'll be done with it quick. So
yeah. One thing that is also a bit of a big middle finger about Deep Nest. So if we weren't required to get Lantern for Crystal Peaks access, we would have to do Deep Nest dark. So if you'll notice, the knight has, when they're just walking, a little lantern in their hand, and that illuminates rooms where we would have no vision otherwise. We would just have a very small vignette around the night. And dark rooms are awful because not only can you just not see where you're going, whenever you get hit by a spike or whenever you dunk in something that replaces you in a preset location, you just don't have any of those respawn coordinates. So you get sent straight back to the start of the room. Please don't fall.
yeah, I fell in practice a couple days ago. I'm not doing that again.
Okay.
If you fall, you have to go like all the way back around. It loses so much time, but it's fine. So this is Distant Village. We are sitting on a bench, and these guys.
Do the funny audio.
Funny audio. What do you mean?
Can't you? Yeah. Aw.
These bugs are gonna kidnap us and like sacrifice us to their god, but we don't really care. We have a nail. We're just gonna slice out of it. We do a quick save and quit here because this is what we call a hard save. So the game manually saves your respawn position to be here so that you can't save and quit and leave. But what that also means is that we get a free heal if we quit out. And because I'm on 2 HP, it's just kind of safer to do this, especially because we're running, like we typically run with IGT, so doing a quit out loses like maybe 0.7. So here we're going to do a trick called Devout Skip. It's a little precise.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So the Devout has a really weird hitbox, and what that means is that we can kind of manipulate it to dash over the top of it. And you just kind of like barely poke your head through, and you have to dash at a very precise point. So, oh my god, sniped.
Oh, please don't, please heal.
I am
Thank you.
don't worry.
Okay. Oh my god, you gave me a heart attack there. Oh.
It's fine if we die here because we literally just respawn where we quit out, so it's not that big of a deal. I am also going to pop a heal here. Normally you want to save up soul in order to kill this last devout, but
Because there is no way to dash around with
I'll
that shade
cop a
skip.
little bit of time loss just to play it safe. So this is the safest way to kill a devout. You do 2 hits and then you dash away. Oh, okay.
No! It's okay.
It's honestly totally fine because again, we just respawn right here. You can use the Dream Nail to cancel like a get up animation. So we'll do devout skip again. Just like that.
We love devout skip. We love doing hard tricks first try. Vi's just that good. So B-Sten is just the just the last little bit of movement before the end of the game, because we are about to see the final boss. Because we are about to get the last Dreamer, and then we're going to be able to go back to Crossroads, where we're going to go to the Black Egg and say hi to our older sibling. And it will be super fun. Please get. Oh my god!
Yeah, the shade is actually down here, so I might grab it, because if you die, you lose all your gear, and that would be really bad.
Yeah. Also, these devouts deal 2 hearts of damage with every single hit. That's why Vi died in 1 hit before.
Oh
my
hungry
god!
wall.
That is 3 wasted
There we go.
fireballs. Okay, there we go.
So that's a little like bad thing that can happen on 1-2-2-1. If you're too close to a wall, if you fireball away from the wall will think that you're firing into the wall and just eat the fireball. So we call that a hungry wall.
Yo, just like
the box.
I was gonna talk about Hungry Knight.
Hungry
the game
Knight?
that preceded
Hollow
this
Knight's
game.
famed prequel.
So true. I heard they're gonna make a sequel to that game. Oh no, a prequel.
Hungrier Knight.
Hungry song actually.
So we basically have enough money to go straight to the final boss. We need 250 geo in order to buy the stag over here. So we have 265, so we're doing just fine. And we want to gather a little bit of soul on the way out, so we can do a fire bell. That's enough. And just some movement on the way out. No, wrong way.
Vi, where are you
I got
going?
lost. This game is hard. I got lost.
This game is really hard, actually. Yeah,
not gonna
don't fall. Don't fall.
There we go. We're
don't
fine.
fall.
We're
There
fine.
you
We're
go.
fine.
Also, I just want to take a moment to say just how well Vi is doing. All of these tricks that she's doing really hard, and the fact that she's pulling them off so consistently in a marathon setting is really impressive. So good job on that. Yeah.
So coming up with the final boss here, we literally just go back to Crossroads and then
Talk to Elderbug.
I already did.
No! Dead run. Oh yeah, that is just a cheeky little bit of early control. When you're going through that transition, you can pause to regain control and be able to move early. It just saves a little bit of time.
Got some time, so I'll do a funny skip here.
Yeah.
If you so if you C-dash into that cutscene trigger, you get this animation, and then the animation actually doesn't cancel when you're done, so the knight looks like this. So that's what we call Superman.
There's also a version of that with the Cyclone Slash, where the knight charges up a nail art and does a little spin, and the knight just... We call it Helicopter Knight.
Helicopter Knight or Ballerina Knight.
Oh, true.
So this is the final boss. Slight spoilers, we are not the Hollow Knight.
We're not the Hollow Knight.
This is the Hollow Knight, and we're going to fight it.
So this is a actually very, very difficult fight to do at the very end of the run. It's also quite RNG dependent, because this boss can actually parry your attacks, and when you deal damage to a parry, it deals no damage to them, and they counterattack. So you want to get as few parries as possible. Whenever the knight dashes like that, then you can actually get right above it and do a fireball to do a double hit. So just like that, that's the parry. There are just a whole bunch of little micro-optimizations that Vi is showcasing very, very well here. This fight has so many different bells and whistles to it. It is so difficult to do, especially on this patch, because it's actually a lot harder now.
Oh, no, it's easier on this patch.
Really?
Yes, it's easier on this patch. They made it harder in later patches. for some reason on this patch, the knight just like kind of is really slow and does attacks at like half speed. And then on the current patch, they increased the speed at which, like the amount of time that the knight takes between doing its different attacks is shortened by a significant amount.
Shoutouts to Christopher Larkin, by the way. So we have one more stream from the Hollow Knight. We will be trying to do a stream skip where we take damage intentionally.
Nope. Teleport.
So the Hollow Knight is very, very soon to die.
Yeah, so time will be, I'll call it out. It's when the final cutscene starts. What is going on?
Don't die.
We're fine. There we go.
Nice. Very, very well done.
So,
Good job,
for the final part, we're basically going to absorb the Hollow Knight and become the new Hollow Knight.
So we are the Hollow Knight.
We've become the Hollow Knight. There's a lot more lore to this game if you're curious. It's a fantastic casual game. This game's also really fun to speedrun. If you're interested, you could hop on the speedrun.com. Time is coming up. Just when this final cutscene starts. Time.
Good job, bye.
So yeah, that's Hollow Knight. If you're interested, come check out the speedrun.com page. We have some guides, but there's also a Discord there. The Discord is super open and welcoming, and we'd be happy to have you. There's a lot of different routes for this game. Any percent is actually very accessible. But yeah, thanks for watching. Shout out to the Hollow Knight community, and enjoy the rest of the runs today.
All right, thank you so much, vichisuki, for that Hollow Knight run. Up next, soon we will have Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Any Percent by Mango Punch. Stay tuned. All right, who's ready for some Resident Evil 3 Nemesis? Any percent